Good evening. So y'all, it's late at night. And I've been sitting on this little word for a few days. And it's kind of debating whether I was going to share it or not. But tonight I was getting on just to put a little something on my status. And I ran into my girl, Bawana Holmes, who said, do not, and something to the effect of, because I'm not reading it word for word, do not go into 2020 with these unhealthy alignments. I screwed that up, I'm sure I did. But Bawana Holmes said, do not go into 2020 with these unhealthy alignments and connections and all this kind of stuff and expect to prosper. That's what she said. Because she can't make you do nothing, right? We can't make each other do anything. If you want to go on into 2020 with the same old stuff that you done drug yourself through 2018 and 2019 with, then that's on you. But don't expect to go into that and bring that mess over into 2020 and prosper, right? So it reminded me of this word that I received a few days ago. So what I was doing was I was reading in Matthew. I was reading Matthew chapter 7. And so what it was Matthew chapter 7 verses 1 through 6 talk about the whole judging factor. You know, don't judge lest you be judged, you know, or judge. And let me see, because it's my Bible is a topical Bible. Let me see what it says. Judging and being judged. Okay. So it talks about not judging somebody if you don't want to be judged. It talks about don't be so hypocritical that you would go trying to help somebody else and you can't even walk in a straight line trying to get to the person you're trying to help. Take care of yourself first. Make sure that you're in line. Make sure that you're like you should be before you go and help somebody else. Because otherwise you ain't going to do nothing but offend the person that you're trying to help. But what was very interesting, like I said, this is Matthew chapter 7, 1 through 6. So judge and be not judged and all that kind of stuff was 1 through 5. But what was interesting to me was verse number 6 said, do not, let me see, I took a few notes here. I'm going to read it. Matthew chapter 7, verse 6 says, y'all please forgive my lighting. We got some stuff going. I hope the lighting is okay. And I hope that the signal is all right where y'all can hear me. And hey, I ain't even said hey. Good evening. I might have said good evening. Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you. So do not give that which is holy unto the dogs. Don't cast your pearls among swine. And I just thought that was kind of interesting that particular verse would be in the midst of, or right there in the section that's talking about judging and be not judged. So of course I asked the Lord, well, why is that placed there? I know you strategic, Lord, so why would you place that there? So let me touch on this again. Bawana Holmes, her status caught my eye, and she was talking about not going into 2020 with unhealthy alignments, unhealthy connections, and all of that kind of stuff. So that's what prompted this right here. So you'll notice that my title or caption or whatever is "Don't Blame Mr. Chahlie." Y'all know about Betty, right? I ain't gonna sing it for y'all. Got a little drainage going on, but don't blame Mr. Chahlie. So Matthew 7 verse 6 says, don't cast what's holy among the dogs. Don't cast your pearls among swine. So what happens when you do that? You end up, just imagine yourself, and this I guess would be more for the ladies. Imagine you have these beautiful brand new red bottom shoes, right? And you take these shoes and you take them outside for whatever reason and you put them in the pen with your dog. And you leave them there a few minutes, few hours, few days, however long it takes. But you come back to them and that dog done ripped those red bottom shoes from one end of the pen to the other. Well, what you gonna want to do then? You probably gonna want to curse the dog You're going to want to kick it. You're going to want to put it in a bag and drag it off in the woods and hope it never finds its way home. All of that kind of stuff. But you knew it was a dog. You knew that this dog did not have any kind of value for those red bottom shoes. It wasn't going to take care of them. It wasn't going to sit and watch them till you got back. It wasn't going to follow you and try to figure out where you were going so it could remind you, hey, you left your shoes in my pen. He going to tear them up. If he can get to them, he going to tear them up. She trying to help me tell it. So strategically, the Lord put that verse in with judge and be not judged. We know about the judging. But what happens is when we allow ourselves to pour in to other people who are not even equipped to value what's on the inside of us, whether it's in our business, whether it's in our ministry, whatever it may be, when we put ourselves in the midst of people who are not equipped to value what's on the inside of us, then we don't have the right. We don't have the right to tell that person who they are not, or what they're not worth, or you ain't this and you ain't that, just because they don't know how to value us. You got to know a dog when you see it. You got to know, hey, Bessie. You got to know a dog when you see it. You got to know a pig when you see it, or whatever it is. And you got to know what's on the inside of you. I don't care if it's, for those business people, you shouldn't be running and tracking down. I know her is. She is too. Say hey, TT Tess. If you're a business person, it's not your place. It's not your job to be running and tracking down clients and all this kind of stuff, because the world already knows what it needs. And so when you put out what you have, you're going to attract those people who need you. You don't have to run chasing down anybody. If you're in a relationship and you find yourself always explaining yourself, every move you make, why you breathe like that, why you look like that, why you acting like that, why you say hey like that, all that kind of stuff, you explaining yourself, the person got you looking crazy to your family and your friends and your loved ones. And, every time you turn around, it's an argument and you just feel unloved, unappreciated, all that kind of stuff. Back to Bawana Holmes. Don't go into 2020 lingering and holding on to those unhealthy alignments. Hey, you better say it. Call a spade a spade. And I think a problem that we have, a lot of times I want to say as women, I know men do it too. A lot of problem that we have is when we're in a situation. I don't care if it's an employee and you done hired somebody and now you kind of hate that you hired them. My best friend said, call a spade a spade. Whatever the situation is, whatever the capacity of the relationship is, if you see it's not healthy for you, don't wait for that person to do something bad enough. You know what I'm saying? That's what we do. We wait for somebody to do something bad enough. Now I can cut you loose. Let me wait for you to cheat. Let me wait for you to tear up something. Let me wait for you to make a bad deal. Let me wait for we want to wait until things get that bad or bad enough. Don't do that, because you've wasted your time and effort and energy, and that person's as well, because no matter who you think that person is or is not, let them get in the right setting. If they're messing you up, if they're unhealthy for you, guess what? That means you're equally unhealthy for them. So if you allow that person to stay in your presence, and you done already picked up on all sorts of red flags and things that say, this is not good for me. This is not healthy for me. It's not healthy for business. It's not healthy for ministry. It's not healthy for my peace and my sanity. You've already picked up on that, but you just sitting and waiting. Let me just see. Maybe they'll change. Maybe they'll switch up. Don't wait. Go ahead and snip and what they used to say, nip it in the bud. Go ahead and cut it off at on site, because a lot of people will keep you in bondage. A lot of situations will keep you in bondage because you're so fearful that if I cut this off and they haven't done anything, here we go again, bad enough, then that might make me look like I'm uppity. It might make me look like I'm judging them. It might make me look like whatever. So the Bible tells us don't condemn a person, right? So I can let you go without condemning you. I can let you go without speaking damning words over you and saying what you ain't never gonna be and who you're not and all that kind of stuff. No, you just ain't good for me. So we're going to part ways so that we don't fall out more than we need to. This, that, and the other. So where did I start off? Matthew 7, verses 1 through 6. And y'all know how I am. I don't have the whole structure and the outline and points 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But just thought I'd pop in here. And I know it's late and people are asleep and this, that, and the other. But I just saw something that kind of caught my eye and stirred something up in me. So I'm just sharing. Y'all can put your thoughts and whatever and whatnot down below. But so Matthew chapter 7, verses 1 through 6. Verse 6 is what my focus was. You just want to be careful. Don't allow people to stay around too long who you already have received red flags and all sorts of things that say this is not good for me. This is not healthy for me. Because what's going to happen is you're going to allow that person to linger long enough that you will start judging them when you've already received the notifications and the red flags of who they are concerning you. So when you receive that notification, that red flag, that download, that mental email that says this is not a healthy situation for you, this is not a good relationship for you, get out of it, because you don't want to put yourself in a place where you're damning yourself. How do you damn yourself? How do you condemn yourself? By finding yourself judging that person, by finding yourself beating down on that person and telling them who they're not and who they'll never be, just because they're not what you need. So do not give what is holy unto the dogs. Do not cast your pearls among swine. You're not hurting that person when you do that. You're hurting yourself. I probably didn't really say all that I would like to have said in this, but I try to keep it brief. Hey, you have any questions? You have any thoughts? Like to hear anything else in this area? Any topic discussed? You can inbox me. You can comment below. I hope that something was said in here that kind of stirs something up in somebody's mind. You deserve to be. You deserve to have what you desire, basically. I know that every woman's desire is to be treated like a queen. Every man's desire should be to be treated like a king. And you cannot do that when you're mingling with the court jester or the peasant on the outside of the palace gates, or this, that, or the other. You got to have it one way or the other. Don't allow people into your space who are unhealthy for you, because you'll find yourself judging them and bringing judgment onto yourself. And she says it's time to go. So y'all have a good night. Love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah.